You were on your way home when it happened. You didn't expect it, of course. Whoever does. It was a car accident. There wasn't anything particularly special about it. Just a typical crash, really, but fatal nonetheless. In the blink of an eye, everything was over. The death itself was painless. It came so quickly that there was no time for you to feel anything. No time for fear. No time for regret. The medics arrived quickly. They tried their best to save you, doing everything they could, but there was nothing they could do. Your body was so completely shattered that it was beyond saving. It would have been a painful, drawn-out thing for you had you stayed alive, but you didn't. You were gone. And trust me, in that case, it was for the best. And then you met me. You were confused at first. What happened? Where were you? You might have thought you were still dreaming, or perhaps trapped in some strange kind of nightmare. It was hard to believe the reality of it all. You died, I said. It wasn't meant to be harsh, just a simple truth. I wasn't here to sugarcoat things. You didn't need any lies in this moment. But there was a truck, you stammered. It was skidding. I remember that. Yes, I replied, nodding. That's how it happened. A truck skidded and, well, you didn't make it. I died? Yes. You seemed so disoriented, almost as if it hadn't sunk in yet. And why would it? Who expects to be standing in the middle of nowhere, asking about life after death? But don't feel bad about it, I added, seeing the concern on your face. Everyone dies. It's just part of it. You looked around at the emptiness, at the nothingness that surrounded us. There was no light, no sound, no shape or form, except for you and me. What is this place, you asked? Is this the afterlife? More or less, I answered, shrugging. You could call it that. But it's not what you think. It's not what you've been taught. It's something different. Are you God? You asked, still trying to make sense of it all. Yes, I said, smiling. I'm God. For a moment, you fell silent. The weight of what I'd said seemed to hit you. You thought of your family, your kids, your wife. My kids, you began. My wife. What about them? Will they be all right? I grinned, impressed. That's what I like to hear. You just died, and yet your first concern is for your family. That's good. It's a good thing. You looked at me with a mixture of wonder and curiosity. I could tell you didn't know what to expect from a god. Maybe you had imagined something different. To you, I didn't look like God. I didn't have a glowing face, a flowing beard, or some divine aura. I looked like a person, just a regular person, neither man nor woman, neither young nor old, but somewhere in between. Perhaps you saw me as some vague authority figure, some kind of figure who had power and knowledge, but who wasn't quite what you expected. Don't worry, I said. Your family will be fine. Your kids will remember you fondly. They'll see you as perfect in every way. There won't be time for them to feel resentment, to grow bitter. They'll always see you as their hero. As for your wife, well, she'll cry, but deep down there will be a sense of relief. You and she both knew your marriage was struggling, but it won't be easy for her. She'll feel guilty about feeling relieved, but in time she'll come to terms with it. You looked at me, your mind whirring. You were processing everything. Oh, you said, a little shaken. So what happens now? Do I go to heaven? Hell? Is that where I'm headed? I shook my head. Neither. You won't go to heaven, and you won't go to hell. Instead, you're going to be reincarnated. Ah, you said, your face lighting up with realization. So the Hindus were right. Reincarnation is real. All religions are right, I said, in their own way. All of them hold a fragment of the truth. Walk with me, I said as I began moving through the emptiness. You followed, not questioning, just doing as you were told. Where are we going? You asked, your curiosity still sharp. Nowhere in particular, I replied. It's just nice to walk and talk. It gives you time to think. So, what's the point of it all? You asked after a few moments, looking puzzled. When I get reborn, I'll just be a blank slate, right? A baby. Not exactly, I replied. You will be reborn, yes, but you won't be a blank slate, not really. You see, all the knowledge and experiences from your past lives are still with you. You just don't remember them. Not yet. I stopped walking and turned to face you. I took you gently by the shoulders. Your soul. It's far greater than you could ever imagine. More magnificent, more beautiful, more vast than anything you could conceive. A human mind can only contain a tiny fraction of what you truly are. It's like sticking your finger into a glass of water to test its temperature. You dip a small part of yourself into the vessel, and when you pull it out, you've gained all the experiences that the water had. I paused and let that sink in. You've been in a human body for the last 48 years, so you've only had a small taste of what your soul is capable of. But if we were to stay here long enough, you'd start remembering everything. All your past lives, all the lessons you've learned, all the experiences you've had. Then why don't we do that? You asked. There's no point in doing that between each life, I said. Each life is a new beginning, a new opportunity to learn, to grow. If you remember everything, it would defeat the purpose of living that life. Each life is meant to teach you something new. So, how many times have I been reincarnated? You asked, still trying to wrap your mind around it all. Oh, many times, I said, grinning. Countless times, into countless lives. This time around, you'll be a Chinese peasant girl in 540 AD. You blinked, eyes wide. Wait, what? You're sending me back in time. Well, technically, yes, I said. Time, as you understand it, only exists in your universe. Things are different where I come from. Where do you come from? You asked, even more confused. Oh, sure, I come from somewhere. Somewhere else entirely, and there are others like me. But honestly, you wouldn't be able to understand it. Not yet. It's something far beyond your current understanding. You looked disappointed. Oh, but wait, you said, your mind racing. If I get reincarnated in different times, I could have interacted with myself. I could have met myself at some point in time. Sure, happens all the time, I replied. But since both versions of you are only aware of their own timeline, neither of you knows it's happening. It's a strange paradox, but it's a part of the process. So, what's the point of it all? You asked, your voice tinged with frustration. I looked you in the eye, my gaze steady and calm. The meaning of life, the reason I created this entire universe, is for you to mature. It's not about anyone else, it's about you. Each life, each reincarnation is an opportunity for you to grow, to learn, to evolve. And eventually, when you've lived every life that's ever existed, you will become like me. You blinked in disbelief. You mean mankind? You want all of us to mature? No, I said softly. Just you. I created this whole universe for you. Every soul, every life, every experience. It's all for you. With each life, you grow. With each life, you become a greater intellect, a greater being. And eventually, you'll have grown enough to understand it all. Just me, you asked, trying to make sense of it all. What about everyone else? There is no one else, I replied. In this universe, there's just you and me. You stared at me in disbelief. But all the people on Earth, they're all you, I said gently. Every person you've ever met, every person you've ever known, every stranger you've ever seen, they're all you. Different incarnations of you. I'm everyone? You whispered. Yes, I said, nodding. You're every human being who has ever lived or who will ever live. You're Abraham Lincoln, and you're John Wilkes Booth too. You're Hitler, and you're the millions he killed. You're Jesus, and you're everyone who followed him. Your mind was reeling, your thoughts spinning. But I'm everyone? Every single person? Yes, I said. You are everyone. Every time you victimize someone, you are victimizing yourself. Every act of kindness you've ever done, you've done to yourself. Every joy, every sorrow, every pain, and every triumph, you've experienced it all. You were silent for a long time, lost in thought. And then finally, you spoke. Why? Why do all this? Why create all of this? I looked you in the eye, my voice soft but sure. Because one day, you will become like me. That's what you are. You're my child. And when you've lived every life, when you've experienced all that there is to experience, you'll be ready to be born, just like I was, just like every soul before you. You gasped. I'm a god? No, I said. Not yet. You're still growing. You're a fetus in a way. But one day when you've lived every human life throughout time, you'll be ready. You'll have grown enough to be born. The enormity of it all began to sink in. And the whole universe, you whispered. It's just an egg? Yes, I said. It's an egg. A place for you to grow. And now, It's time for you to move on to your next life. With that, I sent you on your way, and you were ready for the next chapter of your endless journey.